All right, so welcome everyone to another episode of the Becoming Human podcast. Today I have my honored guest, JoAnn Fox. She's the host of the Buddhism for Everyone podcast. She's also a pet mom, and she's a Buddhist teacher. She's taught Buddhism for 20 years at least. And she is someone whose work I have drawn from for many years now. So this is such an honor to be able to sit down and have a conversation with her. So JoAnn, welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here myself.
Awesome. Well, I will play the intro and then we can hop into our conversation.
My child, we rise. Walk the path of light, let your shadows fall behind. Breathe deep, that's energy you cultivate. Study your heart, let compassion elevate. Feel the world inside expand. Understand you are more than flesh and hands. Every sunrise is a chance to shift again. Transform your life, become human. Be cool, be human. Let your true self shine. From the roots to the stars, you were born divine. Open up your mind, let your spirit ascend. We glow again and again. Be human, feel the rhythm call. Stand tall in your power, you can hold it all. Yeah, this is your moment, your sacred plan. To live, to love, to be human. To live, to love, to be human.
Hey, so that was like our warm-up music.
Love it. I love that song. I love it. This isn't on your album, is it also?
No, it's not. But
So much.
thank
I'm
you. I,
so
I will
into
release it.
You really should. It's so good. The lyrics are so meaningful.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's it was fun to create too. So
Yes. I I have new music for my podcast too, but people get so attached to one.
yeah,
Although people complained when I did my last version because it's like dubstep. I'm like,
yeah,
what? So, but you can't please everyone, so I just go with what I feel.
yeah. I remember when you changed it up, but um, yeah, it didn't bother me. I was there for what you had to say.
Oh, good. I'm happy about that.
Yeah. So I think just like as a little icebreaker to just kind of help everyone get to know you a little bit more. So, like I mentioned earlier, you're a Buddhist teacher um, who fosters rescue animals. Um, so I have to ask, in the spirit of the conversation, um, who practices non-attachment better, you or the animals?
Oh, well, um, I would say I think I maybe practice it better, non-attachment, because I can practice it. But um, I see attachment in animals. It's so interesting because I'm so aware of the mind of attachment and how it functions that I totally see it happening in the animals. In fact, um, my little dog, Zumi, that's my soulmate, right? Missy, my partner's out of town for a couple of days. So it's just me and my little dog, Zumi, and our two other dogs, which one, well, they both were rescues, really, the other two. I went, Zumi's getting a little jealous of Betty, that she's the one that wears a diaper. She has like special needs.
Yeah.
And so she's so cute, though. She has like a little black bathing suit on all the time, a little diaper. And she she basically, I love her so much, okay? But my one dog starts getting jealous, and because Missy hasn't been home, I can see the jealousy coming, right? I can just see it. And jealousy comes from attachment. This
Yeah.
is mine. I
Yeah.
want this, or I want what you have, or how you are, or something. And so I could see it coming, and I was gathered them around to give them a treat like I normally do. And Zumi like jumped at Betty, and Betty ran off real quick, and Zumi grabbed her by the diaper and was like, and it was so funny, but so sad at the same time. But luckily Zumi's old and can be, isn't so good at attacking anymore. But I remember thinking, God, I just hate attachment, because that's what, I don't like to use that word about people ever, but when I see it, it's so painful. I just hate attachment. And so I guess that's a funny thing you asked me about, because people probably think animals live in the moment, which they do. They totally live in the moment. So they are probably better at practicing non-attachment mostly. But if you actually are human, Buddha said you have this opportunity, unlike animals, to train the mind. And he said, karmically, it's really rare to be reborn human, and it's such a special opportunity. It's like it's a spiritual opportunity. Like the human body is a karmic result of just amazing things we did in our past lives. And so I guess I'm better at practicing non-attachment because I'm trying. And I can't sit down with Zumi and go like, put your little paws together, let's meditate,
Yeah.
I can't really do that. And so, yeah, it's a mixed answer.
No, that's good. And I heard you mention that that statement before about how rare it is to, I guess, have this opportunity as a human to, be cognizant of this opportunity and have the ability to practice and just kind of transcend your limitations in a way that other animals don't get the opportunity to do.
Yeah.
And that was so powerful for me to hear. You think you appreciate life, but then you can hear statements like that deepens the appreciation. And it allows you to be even more conscious, but at the same time, more patient with yourself, because you understand it's a process of growth.
Yes,
Right?
totally. It is a process. Yeah, I mean, I think about it quite a lot. Precious human life, just there's even a meditation on it where you think, what if I had been born blind, or I couldn't hear? It would be so much harder to practice. I would have these barriers that I don't have. And so you try to really reflect on such an awesome opportunity. And I also think Buddhism places humans as spiritual beings, but we do seem to forget or not be aware of our spiritual opportunity, and that at least according to Buddhism, it's like the real meaning of human life. So maybe some people, when they feel like life is meaningless, or they don't feel like they matter or something, Buddha would be like, no, your life matters. Everybody matters. Everybody impacts everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know for me, like hearing that statement, deepened my level of compassion for people who I found to be difficult. They're working through a different set of circumstances that I wasn't always cognizant of, but I think the fact that we're kind of having this conversation right now, a couple weeks after the holiday period, I think it's so perfect, because that was when I reached out to you. It was like during the early part of the holiday period, and like this was very much on my mind because during the holiday period, it's a huge time of attachment and expectations and being overstimulated. Those things are really high during our holiday period. And I wanted to just kind of maybe get a deeper understanding of what do we normally like misunderstand about attachment, because I hear a lot of people, one of the arguments that I hear instantly as a defense mechanism is, well, I'm not going to live without stuff, and of course, but that also says to me we're misinterpreting something about non-attachment. So maybe you could shed some light on what that could be.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest misinterpretations of what Buddha taught about attachment. And it's not the things themselves. So it's not to say that we can't have stuff like a car and clothes. I mean, I'm very happy to be wearing clothes. I'm not giving these up. But it's about the way that you relate to your stuff. Attachment is something you would want to let go of, but doesn't mean that you let go of your things, but you relate to them in accordance with reality such that it doesn't cause you later suffering and pain. If it's stuff like, what we got for Christmas, maybe, somebody got a new car for Christmas. Oh, well, actually, I got a new phone for Christmas. I mean, it was part of a deal, so it was actually free, but so that was kind of like, we were making Christmas presents for each other. That's what we decided to do this year, is to be not
Nice.
consumer-ish. But
Yeah.
then we did get these free phones because they had a thing. So that was fun. And then was it yesterday or the day before, Verizon had that outage? I don't know if you heard about it, but there was like this outage.
I did, yeah.
Right? Well, it affected my phone, but not Missy's phone. And when I was trying to figure out what was wrong, I thought it was my SIM card. Like something was wrong with my phone. And I was like, oh no, I can't believe. And I wished for my old phone. That's what I did. And so those kind of things, it's like, do I let it bother me? I didn't. I thought, oh, well, whatever. I'll have to figure this out later. And then luckily what happened was I found out it was just an outage. But it's just those moments where we are grasping at something staying perfect or always working, or, we get a new phone and then it gets a scratch on it. How do we relate to the scratch that inevitably happens? Or, it's separating out what causes us pain so that we can actually enjoy the things that we have. We enjoy them in the moment, and we enjoy them knowing they're impermanent.
Yeah.
And we can enjoy them with a sense of freedom.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it certainly does. And it's just it's a touchy conversation.
I thought it must be for you because you're a psychology student, right?
Yeah.
And I
am.
know Western psychology, it's like attachment theory and everything. But I guess in Buddhism, we would think there isn't any real healthy attachment. But there are different ways people respond, I think, to, like, there's some ways of responding to attachment to other people that would be like less healthy and more healthy. But, maybe I could define attachment.
Yeah,
Maybe that would
helpful.
help. Okay.
Yeah.
So attachment is when you behold something that you find attractive. It's really that a pleasant feeling has arisen, and then you impute that object, which is just sensory stimulation. We're imputing it, and then we see it as a certain object, and we impute it as pleasurable or a source of pleasure, probably because we just have that pleasurable feeling when we interact with it. Like with people, we get that pleasurable feeling. It's totally karma, isn't it? Because I think it is. Love at first sight and all this is just so magical. But so then you see this object, or you engage with this object, whether it's a person or a piece of cake, a diamond ring, whatever it might be, a new car. So we have that object, and then we start to dwell on it in a way that exaggerates the good qualities of that object. And that exaggeration, that dwelling, is what generates attachment. And we know attachment's arisen when the mind is like stuck to it. That's when it's actually attachment. Like you can just enjoy it and not dwell on it and be fixated, or you can get fixated where you're like, no, I really need a new phone, which is not what happened to me over Christmas. It just was, but I'm saying you get those things. You're just like, and then you're reading everything about it, and you're watching infomercials. You're like, you get hungry for it, and you can't be satisfied until you get it. That would be attachment. It's sticky desire. Your mind is glued to that object that it wants. And then when it doesn't always provide the pleasure you thought you were promised, then you're disappointed. And it's like Zumi, where she was going to enjoy her treat that she was getting, but then she's snarling and attacking and latching onto diapers and just it's what I mean. So you enjoy, but then you can think that the grasping, actually that's a good visualization, Zumi grasping the diaper is the grasping. And it makes us act in regrettable ways.
Okay, so to clarify, it wouldn't be the desire, but it would be the sticky desire. The desire that you cling to. And if we were looking at something like the Eightfold Path, that attachment would probably likely most be present in not having right view? Or do you think it could be?
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Okay.
Yes, you're so right. You're so smart, Steven. But yes, that's true. Yeah, it is not having right view, because part of right view is understanding the way things appear to us is dependent on our belief that things are really attractive from their own side. Like our mind doesn't have anything to do with those attractive qualities at all, and it's also not realizing impermanence, even as part of right view is realizing the impermanence of things, which I think is a beautiful way of living in the world. Just enjoying in the moment.
Yeah. I agree. But that certainly takes practice. Like I've been different places in the world, and when I went over to the eastern part of the world when I was maybe 20, 21 years old, it was such a culture shock for me, because the cultural priorities were different. And I was able to experience people feeling fulfilled without having the sticky desire of accomplishment, and so that kind of shifted, my reality, and I had no context. As with a lot of different, transition points in my life. That's why, the book, A Rite of Passage, to kind of help people, identify some of those transition points. But I had no context, and I was very confused, and at certain points, very angry, because you could feel like your life is a lie almost.
Totally.
Not
Yeah.
understanding that, one, you're going through transitions, and two, these are your circumstances to become wise through.
Yes, absolutely. Was this when you were in the Marines that
Yeah.
and when you say the East, do you mean like the Middle East or,
Yeah. So,
tell me more about that. Oh, listen to me.
yeah, look, this is a conversation. I like it when it can go, a two-way street.
Well, I'm curious what those cultural, like you said that you notice them feeling, I guess you would say happiness or without accomplishment, like without a lot of material things. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. So I think I can give two examples, and hopefully these are specific enough, but still broad enough to where, you know, it makes sense to a lot of people. So one example would be, while going on patrols in Iraq, I experienced people who weren't defeated by the fact that their city had just been blown up.
Wow.
I saw people working together, helping each other out, moving on with their lives. They were very vibrant. Just a lot of the stigmas and the rhetoric that I heard walking into that situation didn't pan out once I was there. I saw people who were kind of being incredible, just
That's
to say the
awesome.
least.
Yes.
And so that was one huge shift for me, because I didn't see fear. I didn't see all of the negative connotations. I saw human beings being human and being giving to one another. And then the other thing was, I was in Jordan, and I was standing watch one night with someone from the Jordanian army, and this guy was just hitting me with so much just knowledge, and he talked about the conversation went religious, because that's a huge part of cultural foundation. And I grew up Christian, and this guy knew things that I had no idea about the culture and the religion that I came from growing up. And it really just opened my mind up to how the rest of the world isn't this inferior thing or place, that there are brilliant people everywhere. The whole world isn't this scary place. There's some places that you may not want to visit because some things may be happening, but in general, most of the world is still a relatively peaceful place.
Yes.
And we certainly don't get that perspective when we watch the news.
Yes. Gosh, we really don't. But
Yeah.
I have to say, that is just the most incredible, both of them are incredible examples. The idea of those people in Iraq helping each other, and even in the worst, that would be the worst possible scenario I can imagine,
Yeah, it's our
And
biggest fear.
it is our biggest fear. And in America, you're kind of like, the only way you really envision it is like a, apocalypse or something.
Hmm.
Like, and you know, minus the zombies. I really never imagine them there, but I do imagine something going down. And, you know, just this, and I've always felt this too, that no matter what happens, if you can bring your peaceful mind to it, you can be resilient in the most difficult of circumstances, really. And, you know, I do think the American dream, it sets us up to be riddled with attachment, actually. And this thought that it's, you know, anything is possible. You can have all these things, and all of the accomplishment and everything is based on, you know, external accomplishments, I guess, external things, having a bunch of things. And the American dream isn't even, to me, I feel like there are systemic inequities that really make the American dream an illusion for the most part, really. And so it's something where I can see how you would have felt life was a lie, because we're taught to believe that, you know, if we can get these things and have these titles and these roles, we'll be okay and we'll be happy. And firstly, it's, you know, not easy for everyone to just get all those things. You know what I mean? It's that American dream, even the way it is not true. But the American dream sells a dream that Buddha would say is ridiculous. I mean, he wouldn't put it that way, but you know, it's ridiculous, because happiness doesn't come from those external things anyway. You might end up with this big, beautiful house or being really rich and famous, but then, you know, maybe you're being stalked, and so you're nervous all the time or scared all the time. And so it's just, they're just not equatable. Happiness is something that happens inside.
Yeah.
And it's mistaking it as being an outside thing, that outside things can bring us happiness, is a falsity. But it's super like a falsity on steroids in America, I feel.
It is. And I'm glad you made that point, because one of the biggest points of frustration for me was I couldn't relate that to anyone. If I made the statement, which I did plenty of times, that you just made about the status not being the most significant thing in my life, or I didn't say it that eloquently. I would say I would say it in a way that would insult that person's effort. And so it made their life meaningless. So I wasn't being skillful in my approach, but also didn't know how to be skillful in my approach. I just understood that I experienced this alternate reality and people weren't miserable.
Yes.
And that went against everything that I thought I was supposed to be in life.
Yes.
And as a young person, that throws you for a loop.
Yes, I can't even imagine, because you don't always have the words to articulate what you know in your gut to be true. You know,
Yeah.
like it is true that you can be happy with just enough to survive on, you know. And even I've, you know, experienced that multiple times in my life, where you're just, you know, barely squeaking by, like a little mouse just squeaking by. and then I've had times where it was, you know, there was a lot of material things and a lot, you know, money, and I never found them to be very different. That's the thing, is it's really not very different. Like when I was a kid, we were, well, my mom was mentally ill, and then I lived with my grandpa, And so all we lived off of was Social Security and then my mom's disability. And it's very little, okay? If
Mm-hmm.
it is like
Yeah.
very little.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I had that whole time of experiencing it. And I mean, my childhood was fun. It was like it was fun,
Yeah.
and that's how I perceived it. And so it didn't make much difference if we had a lot of money. It was like, going to Burger King once a month was like real exciting. Or, the big one was Piccadilly.
Never
I
heard of that one.
I know. I think they have them still though. It was in the mall, and like when the first of the month came, there was the potential that maybe once a year we might go to Piccadilly. So I think they do still have them somewhere. This is a chain, but it was like we were quite happy, I felt. But I guess I was naive at that time too, one would say. But then later, when I was teaching Buddhism as part of this other Buddhist tradition, and being a main teacher meant that we had to not make $1 more than we needed to live, right? And it was way below the poverty line, because I still had to do my taxes every year, and I was way below the poverty line. And that was like 13 years of that life, which is like a vow of poverty.
Yeah.
And so I had a long time to experience that as an adult. But there really is not much difference. The only difference is your number of choices, like now I can buy a lot of special conditioners for my hair.
Yeah.
Whereas back then it was like, not very many options. I mean, there were several options because, but they were all cheap.
Yeah.
And are you going to go see this movie? No, because you can't afford to go to the movies, period.
Yeah.
But you find other fun things to do. You go, I love nature, so you do things in nature, and it's just, your life is no different, really. It's because it's the mind you have that makes life pleasant or not pleasant. It's just a matter of how many options you have, almost, which can be annoying. So many options.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
now there are just so many options.
They are. And you spend more time looking through the options than you do actually enjoying the thing.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
But-
Yes. Sometimes you really do.
yeah. So can we circle back to when I know you speak about, I've heard you speak about your grandfather a lot and your mother, and I had a similar experience to you growing up, where we were still happy, even though my aunt jokingly said we were poor, but we were happy. And like, I don't want to glorify poverty. That's not the intent. But do you think the reason why you had a healthy perspective was because you had love in your household? I know you spoke about how loving and caring your grandfather was, and the impact he had on his life. Could that very well be the difference between someone who maybe didn't have love, and it
Yes.
throws off their perception? Right? Well, maybe you
Yes.
could speak to your grandfather a bit, and just how that may be shaped.
Yeah. Yes, I definitely I have his personality for sure. I mean, but he was way more over the top and fun and all this. But yes, Grandpa was just, he was my principal like caretaker, I guess. So my mom was schizophrenic and bipolar, and she had been since she was 16, but she really, really wanted to have a baby. It was like, she thought that was the source of happiness, right?
Yeah.
So, when she got pregnant, all the other family members, I heard this story over and over again as a kid, that they all gathered into her hospital room. They had found out she was pregnant, but she was in for mental illness, and they gathered into her hospital room and tried to convince her to have an abortion. And the only one that really saved me, was Grandpa said, if you want to have this baby, I will help you. I will take responsibility for it. And it really was responsibility, because she would be in the hospital like every 6 months, really. So and he ended up having full custody of me eventually, even. But he was like he saved me, really, like literally. But yes, my mom and grandpa were both really loving and fun and all these things. So I do agree with you that that love, I think, is the difference, that you feel loved. Because when I'm working with people one-on-one, so I do some coaching, like Buddhist mindset coaching, and I definitely have observed that when a person doesn't feel loved, it doesn't matter what their outer conditions were. Like if they grew up wealthy or not wealthy, or impoverished, it doesn't make a difference. It's still this terrible burden on them to not feel loved. And I think that their parents did love them, but their situation and their own inheritance of whatever neurotic quality, it made it so that they weren't able to have their children feel loved. They probably loved them just like my mom and grandpa loved me. But I was so lucky in that I felt really loved. I mean, I was like their source of happiness. It really, and no, but really, really. And so I do think 100% that when someone feels loved as a child, that is such a mitigating force that, they even say that, actually. They say that those ACEs, those adverse childhood experiences, those ACEs, you get a score, you take a little test, and my score is high, okay, not low. And so I feel like, it says all these potential bad outcomes and everything, like, oh man, physical, like disease and everything. So I was so happy when I found that there were mitigating things, like mitigating factors. There's a word for it, but I can't think of what it is, where it lessens the effect of those adverse experiences as a child. And having someone that's loving, even one adult that you can really rely on and you would clearly have felt loved by, is a huge mitigating factor. I think it's everything, honestly.
It is everything.
I think it doesn't matter anything else, but making your children feel loved is all of it. It isn't just like part of it. It's like all of it.
It is.
Me. Because my mom and grandpa did not get a lot of, some of the parenting things, they did not do that great, as you can imagine.
I think that's pretty normal, because, what parenting is different for every person. But, I spent years maybe trying to understand what that love looks like, right? For a parent growing up, and I've come to the conclusion for myself that love looks like someone willing to be understanding with you as a child.
Mm-hmm.
Because so much of being a child is not feeling understood, in a lot of ways. And when I look at different just people who I know who I was close to. You know, we um, did the same things. You know, we lived in the same households. We had access to the same relatives. We ate the same dinner. You know, we shared most of our lives together. Um, but for one reason or another, reasons that I may never understand, um, some of those relatives were more understanding with
Mm,
me than they may have been with some of my other, you know, closer relatives. And that
yes.
made a huge difference on how I feel
Mm,
in the world.
mm,
To, you
mm-hmm.
know, it essentially gives me no fear. Now,
Mm,
there's always, you know, doubt that can creep in when you're not exercising your mind in a healthy way. But in terms of fear about what I'm capable of, it doesn't exist for me in the way
mm,
I experience it when I speak to some other folks.
mm.
So I don't know if you feel something similar or,
Yes. Oh, yes. I mean, that is so cool that it manifested as this fearlessness and this confidence in yourself. And I think that is true. I think that that love you for me, I guess I would have I understanding, yes, I think that is part of it, like feeling seen and wanted, as a kid.
yeah,
And feeling like that person wants to be with you and cares for you and sees you or like understands you. You're like that. And I think yes, it resulted in a similar thing for me where I do feel rather fearless, I must admit. I kind and this confidence, that anything is possible.
yeah,
Yes, I think that does happen. It's you cannot underestimate the power of love, and but it is also it is making the other person feel our love. So yeah, and I think we were talking about this maybe before the show, but it's a verb in Buddhism, love, not just a feeling. It is a
yeah,
feeling of affection and all that, but it is a practice where you're thinking about the other's happiness and you cherish them. We call it cherishing. And so there's this beautiful book called How to Love, actually, by Thich Nhat Hanh, that I really like. It's such a good book. And
I have to get that one.
I have very few like actual books anymore because now I can put hundreds and hundreds on Kindle, and I love that without hauling it around from everywhere I
Yeah,
go. But I have only a handful that I have, and that is one of them, How to Love. And he talks about how we have to see the other person, and it's not enough just to love them, but to like help them feel our love. And to me, that is really an important distinction because you do have to work at it. And I hate to call it working at it because I don't find that cherishing others is a working at it type of thing. But you become aware of what makes them feel cherished and what makes them feel loved and seen
yeah,
and cared about, and that you're present with them, and becoming mindful of what you're doing and the reaction they get and what is maybe missing for them. Yeah, so I think that is really an empowering point in Buddhism of love being this practice, because somehow our parents, me and you, we got lucky. Or I don't know if it was your parents, but some people made you feel
Yeah.
seen and understood and
Yeah.
loved. Like you said, you can grow up in the same household and maybe you had a sibling or something where the experiences, it's like, what were we in the same place?
Yep. Yeah. But I'm grateful that, I could be understanding, right? And they don't feel any judgment from me because
Mm.
I accept them, for who they are. And always,
Hmm.
regardless, there'll always be love and a space for love in my heart,
Mm.
no matter what.
I
Um,
love that. And
yeah.
it's interesting too, because I feel like your understanding of the fact that their experience of, maybe a similar like the same family,
Hmm.
produced a totally different reality,
Yeah.
and it does all come from your mind. And when you're young, you don't realize what your mind, like you're not prepared to train it at that point yourself.
No.
So
No.
it's not anybody's fault that
Yeah.
they experienced it differently. It's never anybody's fault. That's the whole thing. If you really go back and you look at your
Yep.
parents, what they dealt with, and then you would go back to what their parents dealt with, and then
Yep.
you go back, and it's just like, wow, we
Yeah.
survived
Right. You
and thrived.
Yep. You can find some compassion anywhere if you look hard enough.
Yes,
It's
yes.
the, what you said, like really kind of, it led us perfectly into this other point I wanted to bring up. And it was, how I, discovered your podcast. And so, this was, I don't know, maybe 2020, I want to say. Um, I was kind of dealing with, someone who, you know, whom didn't have that type of understanding as a child. So, I walked into our relationship with an expectation um, of qualities that they weren't given. So they couldn't give them to me. And so there was this clash of identities.
Mm.
Um, who I was threatened them and vice versa. And we ignored each other's good qualities because that the one that stuck out was such a trigger for both of us. We
Mm.
couldn't
Mm.
we couldn't see each other's good qualities.
Mm.
And so we had one of those kind of conversations where I felt like I was just trying everything I could to try and really have a heart-to-heart moment with this person. And, he's an expert at evading uh, those situations. And so I was going on a walk and I was kind of frustrated. And I've been reading this Buddhism book, and it was very helpful, but I didn't have the book with me while I was on my walk, just kind of trying to gather myself. So I opened my phone, went in the what is it, the I what is it called, the podcast app, and I don't know, maybe I searched something about anger or whatever. Your podcast showed up, and I clicked on an episode. I think you were talking about um, the guy who gets up in Moses' lawn really early. And I know you've talked about him like several times, but one of the tools you shared was one of those tools that gave me another degree of separation between uh, who I am and my emotional state. And
Mm.
that was uh, I'm paraphrasing it now because I've probably made it my own over all these years, but it was, the scenario is empty of emotion until you assign it one. And so when I heard you say that, you know, I had this extra degree of separation now. And instantly I realized now I have to consciously be angry at this person. It,
Mm,
it wasn't this automatic thing anymore because now I can assign an emotion to it. I'm aware of that. Or
yes.
and and then I found myself in a way being resentful that I had the awareness and I couldn't just be um, angry. But nonetheless, like just that little phrase over the course of that next year was a incredible tool that I had to maintain that emotional distance between myself and my thoughts
Yes.
to navigate our relationship um, better. So, one, I want to thank you for doing that, for sharing that. Um, and two, you know, how did you, what did you envision when you were creating the podcast? Was it more of just a practice for you to be able to share, or did you envision impacting and touching people's lives?
Yes. I definitely envisioned touching people's lives. Yes. I mean, I envision a whole tribe of spiritual warriors. um, because Buddhist teachings, I always say, like, if people say the podcast really helped them, it just means the world to me, honestly. But I always say, I'm so glad the Buddhist teachings have helped you because it's really the teachings of the Buddha. They're so amazing. And I feel like this world needs light beings, or I don't know what you would call them.
Yeah.
I guess spiritual warrior we call them because
Yeah.
that's what in Buddhism we sort of call them, spiritual warriors, bodhisattvas. We need those people, and it's really the inner battle that's so hard to win. I was looking at this sutra called the Insult Sutra. That's a good one,
Huh.
isn't it? The Insult.
Yeah.
And Buddha said something like, okay, I'm paraphrasing this because I won't remember exactly, but like, he who doesn't flare up at someone who's angry at them wins a battle hard to win, right? That wins that battle, which I thought was cool. Wins a battle hard to
Yeah.
win. And then it also goes on to say, in that way, you live for the good of both. You live for the good of both yourself and the other person. And I
Yeah.
thought, gosh, that's amazing. That is true, actually.
Uh-huh.
That we don't need to, I don't know, I feel like our meaning in life can simply be to change ourselves. That's like the most meaningful thing we could really do because it impacts every person that ever interacts with us. And that's a lot, that makes a huge difference. Like if you become way more patient, or like you did, becoming so very wise. And I'm good. You did paraphrase it, must have, but you came up with a good one, which I'm going to now take back. No, I'm going to steal it because you made it your own. And I love it. It was what, the situation is empty of emotion until I assign it one. That is so cool. I love that. And it's true. It must have been something similar. But yes,
Yeah.
it's true that things are empty of emotion until you assign it. But can you imagine people like taking ownership of what they experience, and instead of seeing hatred and feeling angry in response, they feel love and want to feel more connected to others and find ways to help. Yes, I did imagine the podcast, because what I did was I thought, well, I used to teach live always, and I would teach 6 days a week, and it would be like 6 different places. I drive around, but the number of people that you can reach, like say you have 50 people in each class that you do. And I mean, that's like 300 people a week compared to, thousands and thousands. And so
Yeah.
it was really a mathematical equation. But no, it was just thinking. And even now, I just started a YouTube channel because I really feel like it's such a global platform. And
Yeah.
but I've been so resistant to doing it for years. They've been telling me to do it and telling me to do it. And I've loved the anonymity podcast, but I'm so troubled sometimes by what is going on in the world. I'll think about it, like when terrible things happen, which seem, I just think, oh gosh, what can I do and how can I help? And I'm torn because it is Buddhism for everyone, right? Like I myself must remain, I feel, apolitical as far as, and Buddhism isn't all like that. Like some traditions of Buddhism are, it's much more of an activist, political.
Yeah.
But that wasn't my tradition to be political. And then also I just want it to be for everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like everyone. And I mean, we live that. Like, when we record the podcast, there are people from, liberals and Republicans. And, I try to love everyone no matter what and feel that oneness of us and connection. But I did start the YouTube because I remember thinking I've got to help somehow. And if I can spread love, and how to love and how to fortify your heart so that you can continue to love, even in the darkness that we see so much of right now, that I would be making a difference. And, that is it. I want to one day have a whole big tribe of us. If I could make that word bodhisattva a household word where everybody would know what that means, that would be like I really did something good with my life. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, well, I feel like your podcast definitely, if it's had a impact on me, I know it's had an impact on lots of other people, and just the whole approach, Buddhism for everyone. It kind of opens the door for exploration, right? And I know, and and philosophy, we talk about how you explore how like all of the different traditions are antithetical to one another, but when you look a lot closer at the traditions, you see that most of them are really kind of saying and practicing the same things. Just the cultural context is, and the way it was written down kind of makes it confusing and throws people for a loop. And I think that's where it's so important to have people who can see through that and still include everyone. And that was, I don't know if that particular thing was your intention, but it was certainly in your heart, and it was definitely something that just kind of opened me up, right? To and I've gained a ton. But I I want to get your thought on something. So like, for me, one of the things that I like about Buddhism is it's not only is it very practical, but it's very psychological. And and Vedic in the Vedic tradition, Vedanta, they talk about all of the different ways there are to merge, like yoga, to become one union with the divine or source or God or what have you. They say you could do it through the intellect, you can do it through the body, you can do it through devotion. All traditions have a combination of all of them, but may really highlight one. I feel like Buddhism really highlights the psychological aspect of what it means to have a spiritual practice. And for being in college, the fascinating thing is, we explore these things from a scientific standpoint, not the spirituality, but biology, psychology, and you begin to see how the way you think, the way you talk, releases hormones in your body. Some of these hormones are very toxic to your body and they're not supposed to be released for extended periods of time, which in turn clouds your judgment, clouds your perception. And that comes in the way of craving or aversion.
Right. Yes.
And so here I am in a science class, in a psychology class, getting the same message that was given 2,500 years ago, just in a different context.
That's so cool. I know, isn't it so cool? I love that. I know. I feel like science is, well, I always love when I find things corroborating what Buddha said, or because it is just an inner truth, isn't it? Buddha even would say that, don't believe a word I've said, don't believe it because I say it. Believe it if you find it to be true. And so I think science is only going to keep corroborating the mysteries of life,
Yeah.
I know I love that about Buddhism. My particular tradition of Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, is very psychological. And there's like explanations for everything, what I'm saying. But it also has, you might not know this, but there's a lot of like a very shamanic, it really was a shamanic religion that merged with Buddhism originally, that produced Tibetan Buddhism. So there are very mystical things. And, even within my tradition, there is, there are multiple paths to experiencing that oneness.
Yeah.
Mystical paths. And so it's all what you're attracted to. Like I do like tantric stuff.
Yeah.
It's not sexual, though I always say that.
Yeah.
Not anything like, no, it's in your mind. It is, there
could
like,
be a sexual element to it, but I know what you're, yeah, but it doesn't have to be.
Yes. And it's all in Buddhism, at least, it's all for, the pursuit of enlightenment and losing ego. And it's not about lust or improving your sexual abilities or your performance or anything of that nature. It would not be that exciting, okay, if to people, if they really knew. No, it is exciting, but it's all like you imagine yourself able to help all living beings. Like you're imagining those kinds of things, like being pure compassion and pure love. Those would be the kind of things you would be imagining and visualizing yourself as that, and creating. Tantra is almost more like, well, it's like creating the future result in the present moment. So you imagine you're already a Buddha. You're already a being of pure love, because it exponentially creates the causes to be that. Like, it's the fast path. So there are different ways of getting in there, you know, depending on, and it's so flexible. Like what you said about things are empty of emotion. I like that is a new twist on it I really never heard, and now I'm going to use it, because everything is just about the truth and what relates the truth to you, where you find the truth. It's, you know, it's not rigid, and meditation isn't rigid. It's infinitely flexible, because it's all about the experience and not the mind. But you can get in there discursively, you know, analytically.
Yeah.
Which you're probably into that too, like me. I'm into it. But I am into some Tantra as well, I must admit. Not the naughty kind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I love that Buddhism has that flexibility and also embraces every other religion. Like we don't, it's kind of an, they might even say it's an atheistic religion. Some might feel that, but not, I think it's more like agnostic, where Buddha never said there was a God or there wasn't, or he said, that's not my place to say. I'm here to help you. Like a doctor is here to help, and you're not going to ask your doctor, is there a God? You're just going to be like, fix my knee.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things that really, definitely the thing that drew me to Buddhism, is that no one is excluded. That is definitely, because I don't want anyone left out. It doesn't matter who it is. You know, this lady, when I was walking the dogs this morning, this lady, she's so nice to me. She loves me, this lady. And she rolled, I literally saw her roll down the window that had Trump's face on it. Okay, like Trump in the passenger seat. She rolls the window down so she can yell out to me, "Hey, gorgeous." And I thought, this is so perfect. I just really love that. And I do love that lady. I love her. I don't care, you know, about having differences in our views politically. I want everyone to feel welcomed and included, and I think that's the whole point of spiritual practice, no matter what whatever religion it is. It's got to be that, right? Loving everyone.
Yeah, and that speaks to the degree of acceptance that you show and get reciprocated. And you know, and that in and of itself takes practice, you know. But I feel like once you give it, it's so much easier for others to give it back to you.
Yes, you're so right. I think that's the ticket, isn't it? Is giving it to others first. Like it's really, oh, you know what? My mom taught me this as a kid, okay? And I never forgot it. Say, if you want someone to like you, like them first. I mean, that's probably an old adage or whatever, but it's so true. If you love them, it's so hard for them not to love you. At least I like think they've got good taste, at least. You know? Right. So, but I mean, people in America right now, right, are really divided, hugely divided. And you can just imagine, because I live in Florida, hugely divided. And we have way more in common than we have differences. And I feel like we need to remember that we, you know, like you said at some point earlier, there are circumstances, how we grew up, or makes us have different views of the world. And, you know, we can't think that hate is going to solve anything.
No. Yeah, it's actually kind of like, would you say you feel like delusion is intoxicating and like realization is, I mean, sobering. I guess that it's in the, it's a,
Yes, you're right. Intoxicating. Yes, anger is so, and that's why it's so viral, probably.
yeah.
Like social media is kind of like the Tower of Babel. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
and it's just spreads so much, but there's got to be the other side of it too, right? So that must be why you have your podcast too, to spread the other side and spread the love and the light. And
It is. It's a mission to um, just do something sobering, regardless
mm,
of, um, it's a practice just to do it, regardless of what the expectations may be, and essentially learn to or practice managing my expectations. Because when
mm,
I did a self assessment, um, when I didn't have any expectations outside of my knowing that I have the ability to put forth appropriate effort where necessary,
mm,
things worked out well, exactly the way it needed
mm,
to. And when I
yeah.
had an expectation, nothing ever lived up to them.
Mm,
So, yeah, this is just a practice essentially of me doing something sobering while
mm.
learning to manage my expectations, not
Oh my
having
gosh.
any.
Yes. I hear you, man. I so hear you because, on my YouTube channel, it's like you go, oh, nobody watched it, or six people, or so I know what you mean, that it's, oh, I don't know what you mean, but I assume that's what you were referring to. It's like managing your expectations and feeling like you're putting this out into the world, and yeah, I mean, the podcast gets like 20,000 downloads a month or something. And so I figure more people listen than just download it, I would think. I don't know. But
Yeah.
that was kind of like, yes, this is great. And then the YouTube, I've just started it like literally a few months ago. And so it is that process of you do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. You and you're giving. I mean, that's karma, really. That is the
Hmm.
intention, solely just what you see happening immediately,
Yeah.
really.
Yep.
And you are shaping your future no matter what, by your intentions and your actions. And so we just put love into the world and help people to be more sober.
Yeah. Right.
I love that word for it, though. Sobering. I love that. Um, I don't drink, so I really appreciate what sober means.
Yeah.
It's like
Same.
oh yes, that's awesome. Have you been not drinking for a long time?
Yeah. So, when I was in the military, that was when I drank. So
Mm.
like for just really like that short period of time, but I did it exponentially. That's how you do it in the military. You just and and it makes sense because the lifestyle is very fast and very stressful,
Mm.
and you're doing things, and you don't know if you know
Mm. Yeah, gosh.
you're living on borrowed time, as my grandmother used to say.
Mm.
Um,
Wow,
but
that is so crazy. And I always I mean, I just have to thank you for your service. I know that sounds, I don't know, but really though, because it's such a heroic heart that does that, even though, you may have different feelings about your experience in the military now that you have wisdom growing, but still it's so brave, isn't it? What you did. So
look,
thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you. Well, yeah, you definitely brought up a point that just kind of doing good when no one's watching, and that's what we were talking about with these podcasts. And you
Mm.
get the lesson that you need. Yours was doing so great on the audio, and then you making this new transition to YouTube, and and mine was like I gave up on, or kind of was resistant like you, because I tried it so many other times and it didn't work. And then I did this, being authentic, and then people started to watch. And then I have some too.
Oh,
And
dogs? You're hearing my
yeah,
dogs? Oh my
yeah.
Lord. Hold on one second.
All right.
Hold on. Let me mute you can edit this part out, I hope. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I have dogs too.
Because Missy's gone there even naughtier than usual because yeah, yes. I even said to him last night, I said, listen, don't take advantage of this, mommy.
Right? They
They
know.
really go for it. I'm
They
so
know.
sorry.
Oh no, it's good. I have dogs and a child. I understand.
I love that. So you have just more than one dog and a child?
Yeah, two dogs. They're like 12 years old now. Yeah, 12.
Wow.
Yeah, we've had them pretty much their whole lives. We rescued them when they were one. And
Oh,
yeah, so
I love that. And are they like certain breeds or?
yeah, so they're both mixed. One of them is um, boxer mixed with pit bull, and then the other is German Shepherd mixed with Rottweiler, and they have like two completely different personalities. The German Shepherd one, he's all quiet and calm, and the boxer one, he's super energetic and playful and never meets a stranger and
Mm,
just wants to sit on everybody's lap, doesn't realize how big he is. Um,
that's so funny. I love
yeah.
that.
Uh-huh.
Oh, isn't
And,
it amazing having, these creatures that teach us these things,
yep.
you know,
Yep.
loving everyone unconditionally. That's a good dog lesson.
It
Um,
is.
do you mind repeating what you were saying all over again?
Yeah, about just kind of doing good when no one is watching. And we feel like we kind of get the lessons that we need to learn. How you say that's karma.
Mm,
Um, but I know, for me, I was resistant or reluctant to, uh, you know, do have a YouTube channel because I tried other times and it didn't work, and I was under the impression that you had to, do something extreme,
mm-hmm.
and um, and so this was a practice for me to be authentic, and people started to watch, and so
That is so awesome. I know I saw you had like 777 followers, which I think is a very auspicious number. I said
right, seven,
777.
seven. I
Ooh,
know
that is so cool. And I
it
think I have like
is.
78 right now, but that's okay. Like you
It
said, it
is.
is, and I did that with the podcast. I just did it every single week and, well, maybe not every single week, but most weeks. And you just do what your heart, like, I feel like everybody has a gift inside them to give. And they really, I don't know, if we give that gift to the world, whatever it is, and we do it even when no one's watching, and we do it because it's the right thing to do, we feel like we have a meaningful life. And
Yeah.
that really is important, actually, to feel we have a meaningful life. And I'm so glad you said that about you doing this really authentically because, I'm trying various things myself. And so maybe I won't go so, but I do like to be funny. So
Yeah.
I do like my little memes and things. I don't know where it'll go. You watch YouTube videos on how to have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And um, they just say that, it takes time and just doing it and doing it and doing it.
Yeah.
Well, people have different opinions, but this is what Mr. Beast said, and he does pretty good. So I'm just going to, like you said, do it and see what happens and try to be as authentic as possible. And for anyone, whatever their gift is, it's figuring out a way to share that gift with the world and
Yeah.
that it matters.
Yeah. It's a little bit different on camera too. Like you,
Mm.
you, there's an added element to perform. And I think the practice of being authentic requires a little bit more conscious intention at first. But like one of my
Mm.
friends, I'll share with you, one of my friends told me when I was starting, you just have to do it and you've already been doing it. But you don't get to decide when everything opens up for you. But the fact that you've been consistent will allow you to be prepared when it does, you know?
Mm.
And,
Hmm.
and so that's part of my practice, just being consistent, being authentic, and just, um, same as you, because, your podcast is an inspiration for me. And it's just
Hmm.
sharing what was meaningful, to me. And I know that'll be meaningful for someone else.
Definitely. I mean, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it is all, um, well, I do think YouTube is the way of the future. Like, I think there's so much in its ability to create global communities. I really
Yeah.
do. And I mean, my neighbor that is like, retired and she's like 68 or something, she's addicted to YouTube. Okay. So I just feel like there's so much potential for us all to connect
Yeah.
globally. People that want to make the world a better place and to
Yeah.
be better beings while we're here. So I applaud you and thank you for giving me that advice,
Yeah. Thank
just
you.
showing up.
Yep. Showing up. Uh, so would you like to move into the last thing I have is the lightning round, the quick hitter questions.
Oh yeah, the lightning round.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
That
then
sounds fun.
maybe we can end with you guiding us in a short meditation or a thought exercise.
Sure, why not?
Okay,
I'll
awesome.
do it. I'll have to figure out what that'll be
Yeah.
by the end of the lightning round.
Maybe this will give you some inspiration. So all of these questions has an underlying question of what does that say about attachment?
Oh, what does it
So
say about attachment? Okay.
yeah, all right. And so
Mhm.
um, so the first question is um, favorite animal to observe versus favorite animal to have, to own.
Favorite animal to observe is the manatee because they are so loving. They don't see any predators. They don't have any predators, so they're like friendly to everyone.
Yeah,
Okay.
just
It's,
speedboats.
yes, I mean, they're amazing. Favorite animal to have would also be a manatee. No, I would if I could. Let me tell you, I would. But definitely a dog because they just show everyone how to like love unconditionally. Like if you have a bad day, they come right back to you and love you just right again.
Yeah, that's so true. And so, okay, so
So, what does that say about attachment with the dogs? That they are very good at loving and um, they make you feel loved, don't they? They
they do.
greet you at the door. So, they're a good lesson of show how to make someone else feel loved.
They
Big
are
time. Yeah.
unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so the next one, let's see. Um, one object you struggled most to give up.
Oh,
If you had to, what object you'd struggle most to give up?
I suppose it would be under the whole umbrella of makeup.
Okay.
That would be, I love makeup. It's like fun, but it must show my attachment to like appearances, I suppose, on some level. So I must have some attachment to that. I mean, obviously I do have attachment to that. And it is fun though also. And then Missy might say, I have attachment to little boxes. I do, because you might have a gift to give someone in a little box. But otherwise, I'm actually pretty much a minimalist normally. I mean, with mostly everything. But, that one thing I do like.
We all have our thing. So the next one, it's a desert island question. Monastery or marketplace? If you were on a desert island, which would you rather have, a monastery or a marketplace?
A monastery, definitely. Yes. Yeah, I love that. I love the solitude, the idea of it being, I do love solitude, I must admit.
Yeah.
Quiet. So 100% monastery.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like I would do the same. I have 4 more questions. One temptation Buddhism doesn't get enough credit for understanding.
One temptation. I mean, we understand all the temptations, okay? I feel the Buddhists really do understand all the temptations. And I think that maybe it would be understanding the temptations of like lust, So maybe it seems like, because there are monks and nuns that give up having sex and for the whole of their life. Some, my tradition, you're a monk or nun your whole life. You can disrobe, but you're ideally not going to give it up for life. But we also really understand how attachment functions and how lust works, and how desire works.
Yeah.
And it really is not a very prudish, we're not a prudish religion, Like sexual misconduct in Buddhism is just really to not harm others with your sexual conduct. Like we're open to, we're, gay friendly. Not all Buddhist traditions maybe, but I think Buddha himself was open to everyone, not judgmental.
Yeah.
And so, I think we don't get enough credit maybe for, understanding that side, sexuality and that sort of thing. So yes, maybe that is it. Would you say?
Yeah, that was a good answer. I think I heard Brother Fapu from Plum Village say once, which was surprising to me, I think, is if a monk did something like masturbate, for example, most people would think, it was like this huge violation of a vow. But he said the way they would handle that is you'd have to tell a trusted brother so that act wouldn't be kept in secret and quietly control your mind, your daily mind and your daily activities.
Yes.
Which was, to me, it's like, okay, if you have the integrity and the bravery to share that with someone that you really trust, it does take the power away from that desire.
Yes. Or even the possibility to feel shameful.
Yeah.
And like identifying with You know, like sometimes we do things we really regret doing, but we aren't bad people.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, you don't need to identify as being faulty just because sometimes we behave in ways that aren't
Yeah.
the best, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, for a monk, even masturbating would be they would say it was not you broke your vow, but it does like damage your vow. So you have to purify it in different ways. But then for the rest of us, it's fine. Which I think in the Bible, it isn't fine, right, to masturbate.
I'm not
I
even
remember
sure.
that. Yeah, don't spread your seed upon the ground. I remember that. I was raised Christian, you know. I don't remember everything, but that was scandalous enough for me to remember.
Yeah. I certainly remember having a lot of questions and being afraid of doing a lot of things. So, but I like exploring those things as adults. And luckily for me, my mother-in-law was a minister and a chaplain and went to seminary and has a very open mind about exploring different traditions. So she and we've been able to have some really like interesting conversations over the years. So
That's so cool.
yeah. So we got 3 more questions.
Yeah.
Comfort food versus simple food.
Oh, well, comfort food. But it really should be simple food. But yes, I am definitely attached to some comfort food. And I do realize too, from investigating it, that that it has to do with also the way my mom and grandpa showed love to me. Like it equals love. Like when I cook, I do feel like I put love in it. You know, and that people taste the love, you know, and I taste the love or lack of care. So yes, I'm going to go for comfort food.
Okay. Silence or conversation? And I know we touched on this one.
Oh, silent or what's the other one? Whatever it is, I don't pick it. Oh, silence or conversation?
Yeah.
Oh, for me, yes, silence, definitely.
Yeah.
But I am thinking about things inside my mind. So, yes, I'm always trying to see Dharma in things, like see Buddha's teachings and things. So, I don't talk. I'm not a big talker. And I love silence. I feel like silence, it's never really silent though. It's full of the chatter of birds or the barking of dogs.
Yep. Yep. I'm surprised mine haven't barked yet.
So sorry.
No, it's okay. Let's see. The last question is routine or spontaneity?
I love some routine. I love routine. I do. I can't help myself. Yeah, I'm a routine. My partner, Missy, is a spontaneity person. But you need someone to plan, don't you?
You do.
You even to plan the spontaneity in a certain spot.
Yep.
So it's a good combination to have that, but 100% routine. I mean, I could eat the same food for breakfast for the whole of my life. I'm just like that. Like I could eat the same, food always, every day probably, because I get real comfortable with a routine.
Yeah, that's how me and my wife complement one another. I'm I like routine in terms of creating good habits, but in terms of being what's possible opportunity wise, I like spontaneity. And my wife is kind of the opposite. Day to day, she loves spontaneity, but in terms of overall picture, she prefers routine. So we kind of complement each other.
Yes. That's a great compliment. and a
Yeah.
good balance, just
Yeah.
it's nice to have.
We push each other in ways that we know we both need to be pushed, and it's not
Right.
a clash.
No, it's a spiritual thing, isn't it? Like I was
Uh-huh.
thinking, I actually had this thought today while I was walking the dog. I was thinking, I guess I could maybe be a nun. Like I could not have been a nun in my 20s. No way. I would have fallen off the wagon big time. But I guess I could maybe, but do I need to do that? Because I feel like I'm really challenged every single day. Well, maybe not. Yes, on some level, in subtle levels, I'm challenged in a relationship to cherish others. And now you have a baby and a partner. And I mean, this path of living in the world and being a spiritual practitioner is not easy. It's, in some ways, it's probably the quick path. And I was thinking, no, I have the perfect circumstance
Yeah.
to practice. I mean, me personally, I was,
Yeah.
just looking at myself, but I think maybe that's true for people in general.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I guess the last question I have for you, it's a twofold question. And then maybe you can finish us off with a guided meditation. And that is, so what's most challenging about practicing as someone people look to for guidance? And what would you want the listeners of this episode to take away from, that they could apply in their daily lives about attachment?
Hmm. What's the most challenging? Oh, about being someone that people look up to. And well, I
Yeah.
guess it is maybe that my life it feels like it belongs to others. So I'm always looking for, embarrassing things that have happened to me, or like when things go wrong, I'm so pleased because I have something to talk about on the podcast or whatever. And it is a really sometimes very, very embarrassing things. So maybe the most challenging but it's not challenging. I find everything about being a Buddhist teacher amazing. I love it more than anything in this universe. But yes, being willing to expose everything, your weaknesses and your struggles, and that is challenging to do. But
Yeah.
I've always, tried to be authentic and, share my challenges because someone else has got to probably have a similar challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's wonderful and it's challenging, both. Okay, so one thing for people to take with them today. Well, it's got to be about attachment. So,
Yep.
okay, one of two things. I can think of two options. One would be that, finding a way to feel like life is meaningful by giving to others and practicing love. Finding that gift in themselves, and that happiness is not coming from external things. I think maybe that should be it. Happiness isn't from external things. It's inside. And it comes from things like loving others.
Yeah.
And giving those gifts that we have been so fortunate to have, your musical gift and, all those things. It's like you give it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you find happiness in those in those things, that you can find happiness from a different source than material things or titles that you get, or, striving for some external validation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Agree
maybe
100.
that, you think, is a good
Yeah.
one?
Yeah. No, that's wonderful. I agree 100%. And to, just for the listener, just want to remind people, when we have these types of conversations, but just to not add any extra pressure to yourself, because attachment isn't a failure, and you don't have to be in a monastery to practice. You could practice in a grocery store with your family, um, anywhere, and ultimately, like we were saying earlier, that awareness is sobering, and and we've all experienced it a little bit, but you'll become much more aware of it through practice. And so, um, I want to thank JoAnn for um, for for joining me on this episode. It's a huge, just wonderful full circle moment, and it
Mm,
just goes back to us talking about how you continue to do good and continue to do the work even when it feels like no one is watching. Because I think when I found that episode um, that I mentioned earlier, I think you may have had about 35 episodes at the time, but now you have
wait,
like 200 40
35 or
episodes.
something.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my
And,
God.
and
And you know
so,
what? If it helped you, just you, it would be all worth it.
oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So it makes me so happy. And I'm glad that you shared that with me. I love that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And if you could guide us in a short meditation, if that's okay.
Yes, I'll do it. Um, Hold on. So let's see where this goes. What we'll meditate on. I think we should meditate on that happiness can be found within, independent of whatever external circumstances. And um, and maybe too to look and just analyze, oh, is there what can I do in the world that is right, that would be giving my gift, and to do it even if no one else is watching, you know, or just do it because it is a gift to give it, maybe. I don't know. We'll see where we go here.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to get into a comfortable posture for meditating. It's good to have a nice straight back, relaxed and comfortable. Breathe through your nostrils. Breathe deeply from your diaphragm. Come into the present moment. To begin the meditation, we'll contemplate this ancient Buddhist wisdom. Happiness is a state of mind. And its causes are in the mind. No external thing, no amount of wealth, no things bring us happiness. We can create a mind of happiness that can enjoy everything. Now, if you want to contemplate something that you can give to the world, create good karma, your own unique gift, please do so now. What is that thing that you can give to this world, to others? Your unique gift. Now imagine yourself giving this gift without any attachment to results. Just giving and enjoying without attachment to results. And if you wish, you can make a determination. I want to offer this gift to the world. And when I notice attachment to results, I'm going to remind myself, this is a gift. No strings attached. So make this determination. I'm going to give my gift without expectations of the result. going to remind myself, I can make this determination. I'm going to remind myself, this is my gift. It's a gift. For the last 30 seconds, you can make this promise again to yourself and feel it at your heart. I'm going to offer my gift. No strings attached. It's a gift. It's a gift. Gently relax your concentration. Slowly arise from your meditation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. That that really, I feel like we came to something together.
Yeah.
You know, giving
Yeah.
without strings attached.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was cool. I really liked that. I never have really done that one before like that. But that is a different type of attachment, is being attached to the results of even the good things that we do,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
So, ooh, that was cool. And then we could remember it. It's a gift. Hello. It's
Yes.
a gift. No strings attached.
Yep. Give
So
it
I love
freely.
that. That was really cool.
Yeah. That was beautiful. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
And yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this. And
I
I'm
loved
honored. It was a joy.
it.
And for listeners, feel free to hop on over to JoAnn's podcast. It's called Buddhism for Everyone. It's awesome. I'm sure you'll gain a whole lot from it. And when I post this video, I will have a link to her YouTube channel, so it'll be easy for you to hop on over and look at some of her content as well.
Yeah, and then you could subscribe.
There you
You
go.
know. That would make me, not happy from it, but it would delight me. I would be delighted.
No attachment.
No.
Cool. Well, awesome. Well, thank you. I'm going to stop record.